Hello, welcome back to Game Over Gerkinman. This new season of Metroid Prime goodness. This is episode 2, of course. It says it in the title. I'm going to point out some nice little dots here. We're getting water on our visor. That's pretty nice. And if you look at the gun, you actually get little droplets bouncing off the barrel of the gun. That's wicked cool. And those are the sorts of little attentions to detail to make this game truly special. But welcome to Talon 4. This is the place where we will be spending the rest of the game exploring. Now, there is a room up there which we can go into, but there's no point until we get a particular item. So we're going to come straight through this door. You'll notice that when you start, you're on this ship and you're actually looking across at this door, so this is obviously where they want you to go. And here we have our first proper real enemy scan. So, beetle. Burrowing insect with resilient carapace, extremely aggressive insect's massive mouth enables it to tunnel through solid rock at high speeds. Above ground, beetles can cover short distances rapidly. They attack anything that moves near their lair. So these guys are, obviously pretty easy. Nothing too crazy. Usually one charge shot will take care of them. So we just came through there, so we want to come through this way. I really like the music that plays when you're exploring here too. It's really awesome. You got this lovely foliage. Plants around, just a crazy amount of attention to detail. We've got another enemy here, new enemy. This is the sap sac. Chemical reaction with the sac produces violent explosion when agitated. Because of its irresistible odor and sweet nectar, the sap sac was nearly eaten out of existence. The evolution of an explosive chemical sac saved it. Now only brave or ingenious creatures dare to devour it. So if you shoot this guy, kaboom! Explodes. I don't know why you would evolve to do that. Here's another little awesome attention to detail piece. It's just this little streams running around. Like, I just love how authentic this world feels. I don't think it feels particularly alien, but it feels authentic. Alright, what do we got here? This is a blast cap. Volatile chemicals within this weed's toxic fungal cap may explode if agitated. The poisonous flesh of the blast cap helps keep it from being eaten. It also detonates its fungal cap when it senses even slight contact. So if you get too close to these things, they actually explode just like that. And they've got a little bit of an area of attack thing going on because of the way the spores go everywhere. There's also another new enemy up here, which we actually originally saw in the ship but couldn't scan properly. This is a zoomer. Anchors itself to walls and other surfaces, avoid contact with spikes. Basic nerve center located directly above the zoomer's mandibles, detects nutrients. Sharp spines protect it from casual predators, but the lack of reinforced carapace makes the zoomer vulnerable to any indirect attack. So the soft underside, but of course our gun makes short work of them. I love this too, like when you get up here, you get the mist fogs up the visor. That sort of stuff just... I absolutely love that. This is another version of the zoomer here. This one we can't actually hurt. This is a Gema, wall-crawling mollusk with retractable spikes. The Gema is an evolutionary offshoot of the zoomer family. When threatened, it extends lethal spikes and retracts its head deep into its armored carapace. So this guy we can't actually hurt yet. He just freezes up when we do that. That actually did a little bit of damage to us when we hit it. More beetles. These guys will be popping up everywhere for a while now. You'll also notice that there's some pretty round sides here. This is not a particularly organic looking structure right there, so that's something to take note of. You'll find things in the environment like that which you'll definitely want to take note of for later in the game, because that's how a lot of the progress is made through the game's story. So what do we got here? Access the chosen room to west granted. Please step into the hologram. So transport the chosen is active. This is an elevator, which is designed to mask the loading of the next big area, the Chozo Ruins. So this is where we're going to be spending the next little bit of the game, getting a few of our basic items back. It's not my favourite area of the game, but it is interesting, and I do love the Chozo architecture. Like, you can already kind of see it's got a very distinctive look, especially with these heads. The Chozo, of course, the bird people who saved Samus when she was a child. For those who've played Metroid games before, abnormal seismic activity detected. Seismic disturbance at a ruin site. Wow. So there's something happening over here, Hive Totem. So I guess that's where we're going to be making our way to. So let's start doing that. So they've also got these things here. These are Chozo lore. These are very, very interesting. Chozo script translated. The history of the Chozo stretches back into ancient times, so far into the fog of the past that we know not where our ancestors came from. One thing is clear, however, the Chozo who colonized Talon 4 made a conscious choice to eschew a civilization of advanced technology. We Chozo chose to live in harmony with nature, guided by the providence of the universe. We believe we will spend peaceful days here and plan to leave our words from time to time. So a group of Chozo were highly advanced people. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by that lovely little introduction to the area. The Chozo were a highly advanced people. They're the ones that are actually responsible for Samus's power suit. And this planet, Talon 4, was colonized by a small group of them who were looking to get away from all that and to get back to basics. Basically a bunch of Chozo hippies. See, he's got another one of these little ground-powered structures, and you'll actually, this is the first time you'll notice one of these. So you can hear a little in the background. That means that there's an item nearby. In fact, there it is there. It's an missile expansion pod, but I can't get that yet. So something that is cool that this game does is there's little audio cues to let you know when stuff is nearby. So there's a little door down there, but I don't think we want to go down there yet. We want to come up here. So these ruins, there's this awesome tree which is kind of like just everything's kind of warped and that. I really like that. There's also a little energy tank over there which we'll be getting later on. First we have to make our way across here. So I really love this like mix of like organic and just decaying. I have a real penchant for that sort of thing. So this is another new creature entry. This is War Wasp Hive, primary war mobs dwelling, only vulnerable to heavy weaponry. War Wasps build their homes over existing crevices, using whatever materials are close at hand. They carry building fragments back to construction site with their forelegs and glue them into place with adhesive secreted from their abdomen. So pretty much the same as like regular wasps, nothing really fancy there. And we have another new enemy as well. This is the... If I can scan these sons of bitches. Oh, that's branches. We don't care about those. We want these guys. These are Scarab. Exploding parasites can embed their bodies into solid rock. Scarabs think nothing of sacrificing themselves for the safety of their swarm. When a hostile life form is sighted, they block its progress by embedding themselves in floors and walls. Embedded Scarabs violently self-destruct when threatened. So these guys actually do a lot of damage in a group, so you kind of want to take them out when you can. And see, I can't come through here yet because I don't have the morph ball, so I have come the wrong way. So I guess I was supposed to go down here to this. Oh, this is a different door again. Also, there's no fall damage in this game. That's just like an interesting thing. This is a gate that can only be opened with a missile expansion. There is a blast shield on the door blocking access. Analysis indicates that the blast shield is invulnerable to beam weapons. Explosive weapons may damage it. So I'll have to come back to that later. Also got this little thing. Passageway to shrine. What kind of shrine? I guess we'll find out later on. Alright, so let's go to that other door, which wasn't blocked off by my inability to roll. As much as this is one of my favourite games ever made, I still get lost in here quite easily, because I replay it probably once every year or two. But I've never been one of those people who've I've never really collected everything in the game or anything like that. It's never the way I've played it. I always just enjoyed exploring. So if you're coming here looking for a 100% run, you're not going to find it. I'm just going to point out stuff that I find interesting and little mechanics. This is the Ion, a mobile organism entirely composed of ocular tissue capable of launching sustained energy beams when active. The Ion is sensitive to light and will close shut if bright flash ignites nearby. So this is basically an eye with a laser coming out of it. It's actually one of the more creepy or gross enemies in the game, definitely by a large margin. So we can't kill these guys yet, but we can just shoot them in that little puff of light from our beam. They're not overly keen on. So we've got more beetles in here, nothing too crazy. Let's take these guys out so we can read this Chozo lore over here. What's the deal? Chozo script translated. Many long years have passed since we Chozo first took root in this land. The passage of time has always been a source of fascination to us. It is the belief of many Chozo sages that the truth of the universe hides within the tumbling currents of time's flow. Even as we search for answers here, however, we find illumination in other unexpected places. We know not how the ability has come to us, but recently many Chozo have begun to sense things beyond the realm of ordinary perception. Strange sights and inexplicable sensations flood our minds, filling us with visions We take this growing ability to be a sign of our burgeoning harmonization with the infinite. Perhaps finally, universe secrets are becoming known to us. So the Chozo that actually posted themselves here started to make their way onto Enlightenment. So this is another little interesting thing here. I didn't mean to hit that. That's a mirror. We'll get to that in a second. We wanted this thing. Unusually high concentrations of poison identified in tree leaves. So if you're wondering why these leaves are red instead of green, it's not because it's autumn. There's something funky going on. This is a little mirror you can see yourself in here, which is kind of cool. Jump around in front of it. Alright, so this is a new enemy. This is a war wasp. We're only seeing plenty of these. Airborne insect equipped with a venomous stinger capable of shearing steel. The war wasp rarely strays far from its hive unless it's pursuing an immediate threat. It attacks with no regard for its own survival. Dive bombing its enemy with stinger extended, fast-working toxins from the stinger can incapacitate most small organisms. So these guys aren't really a massive pain. I mean, they can be annoying. Usually what you can do is just destroy their web, but until I get either the charge shot or my missiles back, that's just not going to be an option. Also didn't really hit that. So let's just sneak our way through here. We've got more of these scarabs. We'll destroy these guys. Out of my way. Don't care about you guys. Let's got more war wasps here. Come on, guys. Taking these guys on the GameCube was actually a little bit easier at times because of the way you're locked on. Also, you'll notice that this ground is gross and not so nice. And you can also hear that there's an item nearby. Possibly multiple. There's also this stuff here, which I haven't scanned yet. I haven't come across this. This is a tangleweed, plant life with basic sentience, retracts into ground if threatened. Tangled weeds are only dangerous to small organisms. They're covered in tiny barbs designed to trap potential meals. Tangleweeds lack the strength to do anything more than hinder larger life forms. So when you walk around through this, it actually just slows you down. But shooting at it, it gets all like, I'm out of here, and it goes and hides, which is kind of cool. Alright. This is another new enemy, and this room's actually really important in terms of technology. I'm going to explain that in a second. Plasmites, small insect capable of storing and releasing thermal energy. Plasmites are attracted to sources of heat, thriving on the energy present there. They emit light when hunting and will expel small bursts of thermal energy when threatened. So this room is slanted also. This is a bit of a lighting engine thing. If you kill these guys, it gets a little bit darker. This room is completely slanted. It's on an angle. Now this doesn't sound like much of anything, like who cares, right? This required a crazy amount of programming to make work. To have geometry on an angle at the time when this was released was pretty much unheard of, and you won't find it in games like Halo or anything like that. It was very, 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 very rare and uncommon to be able to get this sort of functionality. It's such a simple thing of having a room on an angle, and when Retro showed this to Nintendo, from what I've read, Nintendo pretty much shat their pants. Because they couldn't understand how they did, and it was just such an impressive thing. But here we go. This is the first. Oh, we're about to get our first item pickup. And how? There it is. There is our missiles. Alright, so basically we've got some more wasps here spinning around us. Something that's interesting about these is that they're not the same as the regular ones. These are a different kind of war wasp. These are ram war wasps. Airborne predator circles its prey and then strikes. The war wasps are only species on Talent 4 to evolve a true hive mind. Nesting in damp, dark places, ram war wasps emerge in small groups when threatened and circle their enemies at high speeds, disorientating it, striking from all sides as a single intelligence. They can fell huge organisms. These guys are pretty annoying. And so we also have, what's this thing here? Drainage possession, traces of high levels of toxins, so that's going to come into play in a minute. And here we have the boss itself. You can see the picture there, it's kind of got like a face, which is kind of interesting. Hive Mecha, security unit programmed to work with predatory hive dwellers. A design flaw makes the shielding on Hive Mecha weak around their access ports. These units are second-generation combat drones able to interface with the organic units at a higher level. They train, shelter, and work with hive-dwelling predators. Unarmed, they rely on their hive beasts to handle threats. So this is a weird mix of organic and inorganic systems. So we've got these insects which actually work in tandem with these machines which have been set up, which is a really fascinating concept, I feel. So we just have to shoot this guy in the red here. But you just basically kill the wasps, then it rotates, and it summons more wasps, and they come out. And it's pretty much as simple as that. It's a very straightforward boss fight, although it's really annoying because these guys can be a little tricky to keep track of. And I think it's actually easier on the GameCube than it is with this version because of the way the lock-on works. That might just be me personally. I mean, you can set this up to be like that, but I don't want to be going in there and changing the way the controls work for a single boss fight. So if you hammer the button, you can get this going faster. You kind of really need to wait for them to stop in place before you can really shoot them properly. So you're kind of constantly needing to spin to see where these guys are, waiting for them to pause. Here we go again. So yes, my experience. This is why this is one of my favorite games. I remember picking this up for the GameCube. At that time, what did I own? I think I just owned Wave Race Blue Storm, which is a fantastic game as well. I really like that game a lot. But I might actually play through Metroid Prime 2 before I played through this. I don't remember. I know my friend Jim had it. My friend Jim, who was my best friend in high school, he actually hated this game because he very much enjoyed first-person shooters and he hated the way the strafing mechanics worked in this game. The idea of a first-person adventure as opposed to a first-person shooter was a little bit strange to us at the time. This game still is in a lot of ways. Like, there's not a whole lot else out there like Metroid Prime. But anyway, I do remember picking this up, like, I think it was $40. I got it on sale. Like, in Australia, $40 on sale for a video game at the time was like, wow, that's cheap. Even though that's obviously crazy expensive. But, you know, that was the early 2000s. This is not being as accurate as it should be. I'm getting some weird issues with the tracking on the Wiimote. Anyway, I think this should be it. There we go. Getting our missiles back. So, yeah, I was a big fan of Super Metroid. My cousin had Super Metroid, and I loved playing on his Super NES as a kid. But and I had Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. But, yeah, buying this game and just spending all this time exploring it and learning the intricacies of it, it was just one of those experiences that, even though I don't remember when it was or which order I did it in, I remember... So now I can open these gates here. It's worth pointing out. We got a first energy tank. We can't. So we've got a little extra health up there now. Can't go in there yet though. We need to get the morph ball back, which we're going to do next episode. See, it's doing this weird thing. I'm moving to the left. It's like pulling. It's very strange. Anyway, I'll just finish the story and then wrap up this episode. You should notice that the water's drained out of here again now too. Oh yeah, well I guess essentially I just had a really good time with it. And I just love it because of its music, its atmosphere, the art direction especially. I'm a big fan of Retro Studios and I've loved pretty much everything they've done since. And yeah, this game will always hold a very special place in my heart just because I played it it had been out for a long time at the time, but it just came out at the right time for me. And yeah, it's just one of those things. That Nintendo magic. Anyway, thanks for joining me this episode. Next episode, I'm going to go and get the morph ball, which is a pretty important item. Can't have a Metroid game without a morph ball, so I hope you join me for that, and I'll catch you next time.